bookworms. So I've been really busy and I'm sorry for not updating or talking to you guys much, but I kind of wanted to make this vlog to inform you guys that I've made a commitment this year as kind of like a New Year's resolution, and I know it's a little bit late to be talking about New Year's resolutions since we're pretty much halfway through March. But I kind of wanted to let you guys know that I've made a commitment to vlogging more often. I've actually put more effort into it, I think, than before, whereas before it was mostly just book reviews when I got around to reviewing them and when I got around to reading, and there was no structure to what I was doing, which I think is where my downfall was. But I kind of wanted to let you know that I've decided that I am going to vlog more often. I have a few structures in which I'm going to vlog, so I have a few challenges I've undertaken this year, and I kind of want to document my journey through them, I guess. I feel like for me 2016 is going to be a year of, well, I hope it's going to be a year of change, but for me it's probably most importantly a year of hope. It's actually quite funny because I got a new journal recently because I finished my old one, and it's like this, so it's covered in dragonflies. I think I'm holding it upside down. Yes, it's this way, sorry. So it's covered in dragonflies, and for me that's always been a symbol of hope. It actually started off being a symbol of hope for me because one of my friends when I was in school, and I used to love dragonflies, and every time we'd spot a dragonfly we'd message each other and let each other know. It's just something silly we did as kids. That right at the very end of year 12, that same friend, sorry, this is a little difficult to talk about still, was diagnosed with leukemia, and it was no longer a joke that we were sending dragonfly messages to each other. It was more like a message of hope. You know, every time I'd see that I'd think of her and I'd send all my love and all my best wishes towards her and in her direction. And I mean, there wasn't much I could do, I'm just one person, but it was this hope that she could get through. And at one point she was completely free. Like, she had no, everything had gone away, she was in remission. There was absolutely no trace of anything in her blood or anything at all, and it was fantastic, and we were all rejoicing. And that was quite early in this year, end of last year, early this year, and I was thinking dragonflies, hope, and I got this journal, and it means a lot to me. I think it's a journal of hope for me, and I think that was even what I wrote my first entry on. Just having a look now. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same thing as I just said now. It's pretty much exactly what the first entry of this journal was. So yeah, this year is going to be a year of hope for me. I'm hopeful about pretty much everything. I don't want to let anything bring me down, and I'm really trying hard not to, even when things really do get tough. I'm trying to look at it in a positive light. For example, not all that long ago, I applied for a job and I didn't get it. In fact, that ended horrendously. Like, that was probably the worst job interview of my life. And while that could get me down and that could upset me and make me feel really horrible, I've kind of turned it into a positive for me, a motivator for me. Just to be clear, it was so horrendous. The situation that happened, the kind of, I don't know if it was kind of feedback, and it was kind of just how things were plodding along with the interview and everything. I ended up leaving that interview room crying, which was how bad it really was. And I'm not the kind of person to get emotional in situations like that. I know how to be professional. I've been doing it for ages. It's kind of actually how I live. Like, I don't like to let people see me cry. I don't like it. I mean, when I get stressed out, I can get emotional, I can get a bit teary. When I get frustrated, I can sound like I'm going to cry even though I'm not. Sometimes if I get frustrated enough, I can, but I am pretty good at keeping my tears in check. But this was really something I've never experienced before. But instead of taking it as, I'm really bad at this thing, I can't do this anymore, I'm not going to do this anymore, I realised that I was going to get into that industry. I was going to go there. I was going to do that kind of thing. This is what I was going to do. This is what I'm going to do. It was a job for overseas as well, so that was the other thing too. It was like, I'm going to go to that country and I'm going to live there and I'm going to work there and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to love it despite them. So it became this thing for me that it wasn't a negative that it had happened. That's what happened. The person was probably a little bit unreasonable in their feedback, considering it was just that I paused for too long and was then told that I'd done something that nobody should do ever in that position. But I'm not upset about it, if that makes sense. In fact, I'm determined, because I didn't get that job, but I'm still going to make it. I'm going to find another way. I'll find another way. I'm not going to stop. They're not the only company in that country hiring. Like, I'd be concerned if they were the only company in the country hiring, period. That would be a problem, because I have family members who've moved there. My sister's moved there and gotten a job. If she can, I can. So I'm determined to do it myself. And I'm determined to do all kinds of things this year. I'm not going to let anything hold me back. So yes, this year is a year of hope and determination for me personally. Yes, so speaking of hope and determination and plans and things, I mentioned a couple of challenges that I am undertaking, I guess, I don't know, that might be the best word to use, undertaking. So the first challenge I want to bring up is the 200-day challenge. Now, I know that's really descriptive, but the 200-day challenge is essentially just not buying anything new for 200 days. And I know most people are saying, oh, what about food and whatever, but I'll explain that in a minute. I want to kind of get into how and why I'm doing this before I explain the rules, because I think that would explain this mood and this determination and where I am in my life a bit better than if I just kind of told you what the challenge was. So, I was overseas at the time, because at the start of this year I wasn't in the country. And I happened across an article on social media that was about some woman who had her father had recently passed away, and she had to sort through all of his stuff, and she realised that as people we accumulate a lot of stuff, and I think I can relate to that too, because I have so many books. I have a ridiculous number of books. I maybe, if I'm lucky, have read half of them. I am literally recording this right now, and the camera directly in front of me is on a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. And they're all books that don't actually fit on a shelf. They're all books that don't actually have a place on a shelf at the moment. So I have too many books, and I can relate to that, and I have too much stuff. And I have what I call a glory box, which is stuff for when I have a place of my own. Stuff I've bought that I don't really need because there's already that stuff here. But when I leave, I can't take that stuff with me. So it's stuff for when I have my own place. It's all kinds of things, from a rice cooker to sewing machines, tea towels, Tupperware containers, a rice ball making device that makes your rice balls look like pandas. Some of it's useless. Well, not useless, but some of it's not necessary. And so I kind of thought about that and realised I have a whole pile of unnecessary stuff. We all have a whole pile of unnecessary stuff. Like, looking right now, I can see a whole pile of headbands I haven't used in God knows how long, and some of them are Halloween ones that I haven't worn since I was 16. Like, they're just there. And hats that I bought that I liked and wore for about 2-3 years and then got over my hat phase. So I decided that that was actually a great idea and I could really relate to that. And she decided, after having dealt with all the stuff that her father had left her when he passed away, she realised that life isn't about the stuff we accumulate. Life is about the experiences we accumulate and the people we spend time with. And the fact that there's just so much stuff and we just buy more stuff. And honestly, if we just reused everything that already existed instead of throwing it away, we'd probably never need to buy a new thing ever again. I mean, think about it. Umbrellas are constantly being made and sold. But how many umbrellas does one person need? Umbrellas don't break that easily that you need a new one that often. It's more likely you've lost them. Like, the number of times people lose umbrellas on the train, or I've lost umbrellas and I don't know where they've gone. So I just went out and bought a new one instead of going to, I don't know, some op shop somewhere and getting one. So her challenge essentially was, it challenged herself to 200 days of not buying anything new. And she said it changed her perspective on everything. And I think that's really interesting because she said not only did it save her money, she started to notice things that she could reuse. You know, she wasn't throwing away glass jars as often because she could reuse them for a different purpose. She wasn't throwing away other things because she could see them as a way to reuse them instead of just, oh, I'll buy another one if I need it. And for me, that really resonated with me. Like, the whole article, I think, really resonated with me, and I decided I wanted to do that. I wanted to live a life where I actually reused things, where I bought secondhand or traded things for everything I needed. Like, I grow fruit. I have a lot of fruit. I have so much grapefruit, I don't know what to do with it. We don't eat that much grapefruit here, but we have a grapefruit tree that is constantly producing pink grapefruits. There are people who love grapefruit. They might have something I need. I have something they want or need or whatever. Why not trade? It just seems so logical. So I decided I was going to do this, and I thought, when I come back from travelling, which was actually start of February, I would start this 200-day challenge. So from that point on, which I think was mid-January, I think? Might be mid-January. Actually, I can tell you exactly. I'm pretty sure I wrote a journal entry on it because I'm weird like that. Oops, wrong way around. looks like it might have been mid-January or late December, maybe? Some funny stuff I wrote in here. Anyway. Oh yes, here we go. So it was, yes, mid-January, almost exactly 2 months ago. Yes, so it was mid-January, and I decided from mid-January to early February, well, to exactly the 1st of February, I would plan how I was going to do this. So I would work out what counts as buying something brand new and what's okay. So for example, food. I'm not going to find second-hand food. If I can trade for food, fantastic. If not, don't worry about it, because it's going to be difficult to buy second-hand food. And what is second-hand food? I don't actually want to think about that. Things like toiletries, toothbrushes, toilet paper, makeup wipes, that kind of thing. I think you kind of have to buy brand new, unless you can, get a half-used packet of them. You know how they're individually sealed and they come in boxes, and yeah. Anyway, that kind of thing. So for me personally, I kind of sat down and worked out approximately what counts and what doesn't count. I actually left work out of the category. Like, if I need to buy something for work, I will try my best to get it either traded or secondhand, but if I have to, I'm going to buy it new. Because work's kind of important, and work kind of means I need to buy things, unfortunately. So I took work out of that equation, but otherwise, everything else, secondhand or traded. And actually, it hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be. I traded some old notebooks and notepads I didn't use. Like, I bought them when I was in high school, and I still haven't used them. I don't know even why I bought them. Why do I buy something I'm not even going to use? See, this is exactly what this article was talking about. Buying stuff you don't use. So I traded some notebooks that I don't use, never used, and traded them for some teapots, because I'm a bit of a teapot collector. I know that's feeding into the having excessive amount of stuff thing. But I guess I made space. I'm trying to justify that tiny little book trade. But in the end, that's what I did, and that's how I plan it. And honestly, I'm trading a lot of things for food. I'm trading plants. So I tend to grow, I like to grow avocado trees. That's just something, I don't know, I really like to do. My banana trees tend to grow a lot, because bananas, the interesting thing about bananas is you can't actually grow them from the fruit. You have to have a tree, and then it has to asexually reproduce, and then that's another tree, and then you split the two trees, and so on and so forth. So my banana tree did that a few times, and now I've got extra banana trees that I don't know what to do with, so I've traded them for food, and other things. So I have a lot of stuff that I don't need too, so I've been trading that off. Shoes and things like that that don't fit me. Someone gave me a pair of shoes as a present, but they're one size too big, and they're gorgeous shoes. Like, I love them, but I can't wear them, so I've had, there's no point in keeping them. So that's one of the bigger challenges that I want to document. And on the note of documenting that and what the rules are, and how I'm putting my own twist on things and so on and so forth, I want to, as often as I can, document this experience. Because for me, it's not just about not accumulating stuff and saving money, it's also about, like, lessening or limiting my impact on the environment. Because personally, I'm quite a huge environmentalist. I'm an advocate for animal rights. I'm all about sorting out this climate change mess that we've created, saving natural places. I mean, I volunteer at the Wilderness Society fairly often. So for me, it's not just stuff, it's not just money, it's environmental. So when I document it, I don't want it to just be, I didn't buy something today kind of thing. I want it to be more, these are the things I've learnt while doing this challenge. These are the things, this is the kind of impact I've noticed about myself, about the way I behave, about the way I think, about my perception of the world around me because I've done this challenge. And I think that that's something valuable that I can impart, some kind of valuable knowledge, I guess, that I can impart to you guys through this experience. So, I mean, again, if you guys want to do it, go ahead. It's actually a really, really good idea. I just recommend giving yourself some time, like I did, to plan why you're doing it, what counts, what doesn't count, and things like that. And I think that's really important if you're going to do it. And if you want to document your experience too in a vlog or in a blog or something, that'd be great. That would be so awesome. Let me know. I think that would be really cool, so we can share our experiences and the kinds of things that we've done and what we count and what we don't count. I think that would be really cool as well. Because I don't just want this to be me talking at you. I want this to be an experience that we're all having, that we're all learning something whilst doing something really different and profoundly different, I guess. Yeah, so that's the first challenge that I'm taking on this year. The second challenge, and this one goes for the whole year, not just, a set number of days. Unfortunately, I've missed the first 2.5 months of it, but there's a blog on Tumblr called Journaling Junkie. And as you know, or we can tell now that I've shown you, but I like to journal and I like to write about my experiences and evaluate how I perceive the world. But Journaling Junkie essentially gives out challenges for every day of the year. They organise them in monthly blocks. So there'd be a January block and then all the dates and stuff. But they give you prompts for every single day of the year. And I really like this idea, but my issue is that when I journal, it's not so much about whatever prompt they give you. I'm not really a prompt writer when it comes to journaling. When